I want to talk about 3 common mistakes hunters make, I've made them, during the late portion of the rut. The rut is a continual cycle. It's a big bell-shaped curve. How tall it is, how broad it is, kind of depends on the habitat and the adult sex ratio where you hunt. Some does will be receptive really early, and some will be really late. And I want to talk about how all this plays into the biology of hunting during the late rut and mistakes we can easily avoid. The first common mistake I've made and I see other hunters make is overlooking the importance of doe fawns this time of year. I don't think anyone goes out and says, boy, I can't wait to harvest a doe fawn right now. But doe fawns are critical this time of year during the late rut. The reason is if you have good habitat, maybe you're in ag country or you're in the mountains like we are, but you've done a lot of work, you've done prescribed fire, thinning timber, you got a good habitat improvement plan in place, those fawns are probably going to reach puberty in December, January, maybe even February. Depending on where you are, latitude-wise throughout the whitetails range, that might be 60, 70, 75 pounds. And if they reach that at that time, again, late December, early January, something like that, they will probably become receptive. And you're going to see a spike in rut behavior. Some people call that the secondary rut. That's not the case. It's just tailing off there because there's probably fewer female fawns than does, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, all those age classes together that hopefully have already bred. But if you've had a doe harvest on your property, you're seeing a lot of fawns in one area, they've kind of grouped up, maybe you're getting them in a food plot on your Moultrie cameras or something, and you've got good quality habitat, you need to be hunting that area because mature bucks are going to be in that area. Mature does that have been through the rut several times, they know how to avoid those pesky bucks. It's a lot of torment for a doe that's receptive 24 to 36 hours, multiple bucks trying to mate with her. But when you're a female fawn, you haven't been to that process before, and you're just on a food cover pattern, going to that food source every afternoon, every morning, and those bucks will pick up on that, and that can be a key hunting location to tag a mature buck during the late rut. The second mistake, and probably the biggest cause for hunters to become couch potatoes, is thinking their hit list buck is gone. There's a couple things going on here. During the rut, bucks expand the use of their home range. They don't necessarily expand their range, but they use all of it looking for receptive does. They may be over here in this 200-acre quadrant, and then over here, and then over here, or whatever. They may pair up with a doe that's receptive and follow her into her home range, wake up after that 24, 36-hour period, and come jutting back. Just because you're not seeing it, if you haven't got a picture from your neighbor or checking his Facebook page, seeing that's dead, I would assume that buck is still alive and walking around. Every year we have bucks that go, missing in action during the rut. We don't see them on our Moultries like, oh man, I bet it got tagged somewhere, got road killed or something. Then they show up this time of year. Once you get past the peak of the rut, those bucks return more to a food cover pattern. And if you've got a good food source that hasn't been overhunted, deer don't associate that with hunting pressure, there's a really good chance those bucks are going to return to that pattern. I know y'all do this. You sit at home watching your neighbor's Facebook pages, see if they got that big buck gripping and grinning in a picture there. And maybe they did. It happens to us every year. It probably happens to you. But there could be a buck that spent more of their time on a neighbor's property that's now shifted over to your property. They're not changing home ranges, they're just using a different portion of their home range. We have what we call bonus bucks show up every year this time of year. We've got good food sources, we watch our hunting pressure, and it's a great time for those bucks to feel comfortable here at the Proving Grounds. We've talked a lot about the rut and what drives deer, but don't forget that the #1 motivation for a deer daily is survival. That's based on research using different things, measuring corticosteroids, stuff like that. Survival's #1, even over the rut. So what can we do? Maybe you've got really cold weather coming in. It's been cold here at the Proving Grounds, like in this warm jacket right now. Snow north of us, a lot of snow in some places. Survival always trumps the rut, even during the late rut period. So you need to think the biology of a deer. What do they need every day to survive? Food, cover, water, food, cover, water. Water is rarely the limiting factor, but quality cover this time of year, and certainly quality groceries, is a big attraction for deer. Take that one step further, and I alluded to this earlier. Quality groceries that deer do not associate with danger. That's how you see bucks moving during the daytime, this portion of the rut.
Growing Deer is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Also by Green Cover Food Plots, Winchester, PH Outdoors, Black Widow Bows, Moultrie, Steel, Fleet Outdoor Apparel, Morel Targets, Fourth Arrow, Soil Pro Outdoors, Scorpion Venom Archery, Case IH Tractors, Burris Optics, and Redneck Hunting Blinds.
One thing I've noticed throughout my career, and I don't know if the GPS data is fine-tuned enough to tease this out or not, or if anyone's ever really studied this one thing, but I find when it's 10% colder than normal, this morning's supposed to be 30 and it was in the 20s or something like that. When it's colder than normal or colder than it was the day before, significantly colder than the day before, I find the deer tend to move later in the morning. Man, you wake up, you got the alarm set, and gosh, it's 15 degrees colder than it was the day before at that same time. Ease on out to your stand, but dress really warm because you may see a 9 o'clock movement or a 10 o'clock movement. Daniel and I have used that a lot through the years to our success. We're still out there early. We're bundled up. We're hunkered down. Might got the hoodie pulled up or something like that. But be patient, because if you don't see deer during that normal sunrise, sunset time frame, and it's colder, there's a really good chance they're moving mid-morning and right after dark. If you have a really extended cold snap, one of those big Arctic blasts comes down, just sets on your area for a while, and it's colder than normal for several days in a row, a couple of things can happen. Remember, survival's number one for deer. When they're up and walking around, you've skinned out deer before, you've dressed deer. There's not much hair in what we call the thermal vents, right below both of their legs, front and back. And if they're out walking around, especially in snow, they're losing a lot of body heat. Sometimes it's more efficient for a deer to stay curled up and save calories than go try to ingest more calories. That's an extreme situation, pretty far north for that to happen. But if that happens, that first warm day is going to be a feeding frenzy. It's like me when I've been on a long, long hike and I get back to the truck and I got that big old bag of trail mix, man, I'm chunking that baby down. That's about what deer do. So we see that even here, in Branson, Missouri. We're in southern Missouri here at the Proving Grounds. We get an extended period of snow or ice that's just got all the food sources froze over. That first warm-up day, we see deer on our cameras and in person feeding all day long. So I like when it's way colder than normal for several days in a row. I'm either sitting in that redneck blind or getting ready to hunt, because that first warm-up day, I almost guarantee you deer are going to be very active and they're going to the best food source in their home range. These are some mistakes I've made. I'll bet a lot of you have made them. Hopefully the solutions or how I've addressed them helps you put more venison in the freezer during this late rut period. Understanding how these cycles work is really important from a hunting point of view, but understanding how life works makes our life better every day. And the only truly way to do that, the most successful way to do that, is to seek the Creator, study His Word daily, and apply it to our lives. Sometimes you're just doing something that doesn't fit. There's probably a reason you're out of God's will. And making sure our actions are aligned with God's will is the way to have the best life. Thanks for watching Growing Deer.